Well, what a night it was in Tuscaloosa for the commencement. I mean, how about having the greatest coach of all time, Nick Saban, a guy that Shank knows well, and the president of the United States making his third trip to Tuscaloosa as the people that do your commencement. We're going to talk about us graduating. I thought mine was Seal Award, and then I found out it was really my sister's. I had Denzel Washington. It must have been memorable because I forgot. I don't even know if Shank knows who did his, but all of that plus Alabama recruiting and what the university means to us on today's Bama Tailgate Show. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Let's get this thing going. Great to see you guys. Brought to you by Pearl River Resort, and always great to hang out with Alphonse Taylor. Of course, Shank. I'm Mick Gillespie. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. I saw your old football coach at the commencement last night. And Saban. Yeah, this guy, Nick Saban. He's so inspiring, man. And it's like everything that he does, and you're in the coaching world now. Right. It's so just like to the book. Here's the game plan. We're going to stick to it. This is how you get it done.
Oh, Sabo, man. People always ask me, what is Saban like? And my response is always, if you're the type of person that shows up every day to handle his business, he'll be your best friend. Mm-hmm. But if you're the type of person that like to rebel against that ideal and like to drag your feet, he'll be a tough person to be around. And he always used to say that high achievers and mediocre people don't mix. Mediocre people hate high achievers, right? And that was his thing. And so he's just a type of person, man. He showed up every day. What you seen is what you got. He was always about his business, ready to hit the ground running. And you better get in and keep up.
Yeah. I got that feeling too. I mean, I was around him when I worked at Crimson Tide Sports Network, and then obviously as an Alabama fan. What's the biggest lesson you learned from him? Obviously being part of a championship team and one of the best offensive lines that Alabama's ever had, and the best in the country in 2015. But I mean, it's when I talk to the Mike Johnsons and the Baron Hubers and the Jake Cokers and the Ryan Andersons, all of our friends, like they seem to take different lessons from him, and it doesn't necessarily always relate to playing football.
Man, the biggest thing I took from my time at Bama is just my work ethic, man. And just the love and care I pour into my family, honestly, because when I stopped playing, my now wife, we were pregnant with my oldest daughter at the time. I really didn't have college figured out yet, and I was just like, man, what I'm gonna do? But at no point that I just kind of feel down on myself or have too much pride to go out and work, man. I got up, went and got a job. I worked 2 jobs for like 5 to 6 years after college, man, just to make it happen. And, I'd like to think that type of work ethic just came from all the stuff that I went through in Tuscaloosa, just the grind that we went through, man, because, you put yourself through something like that and you look back on it and you start to question your sanity a little bit, right? And I really put myself through that. I really stuck it out. And there were a bunch of people that did it alongside me, but I like to think my work ethic was molded at Bama, man, and I know that there's nothing I wouldn't wake up and get on the ground and go do for my family.
I loved when Saban was talking about at the commencement about self-discipline, because it's something that we all struggle with, right? He said, hey, it's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. I live by that every day. I know you do too.
Absolutely.
You have to earn it, have accountability for what your job is. I love that about him. And it's not about being better than someone else. It's about being the best you can be. Those 3 things stuck out to me. And I figured for you guys that played at Alabama, I'm sure that was just constantly something that maybe he didn't say, but he showed you by the way that he did his job every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And he always used to say, man, just the things you do and nobody are watching are the things that define you. So are you a person that likes to do right when people are watching you do right, or are you a person that has some integrity about you and you're going to do the right thing even when there's no applause for it, right? And so that's another thing that I carry with me now. I don't just carry myself in a certain way because people are watching me. I'm not a nice person because people are watching me. I'm a nice person because that's the right thing to do. You know, you never know what type of day anybody's having, man. A simple greeting to somebody, a simple thank you, or have a great day. You never know how long that can go with somebody, and just having that type of character, integrity, and you that's definitely something I took away from him as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think he said something about, be nice to people, because sometimes the people that you run into on the way up are the same people you run into up on the way down, like
All
basically
right.
like, and I think that's a great lesson too. I miss him so much as our head coach, but I feel like handing it over to Coach DeBoer has been a blessing too, and I think that, and I'd love to hear your opinion, but I feel like that the tough discipline that Saban tried to instill to guys like you can be lost on the way that things are now, when it's about the money, and it's about leverage, and maybe it's not as much about the experience of going somewhere. And not saying that that's not what these guys did, but I'm just saying, like, when you hear that you're going somewhere based off of dollars and cents and not off of the learning that you're going to have, the development, the process
Right.
that's about, changes the way that you would do that job. And I think that's why he probably retired.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. I honestly couldn't see Saban struggling in this era right now, man. It'd just be a tough thing to see because now more than ever is tradition and having some type of standard and structure to your program. It's a huge factor, man, because along with the money, everybody's gonna spend money, but who has that standard to their program? Who has that structure? Who has the guys that are going to buy into something bigger than themselves, right? And I think now more than ever that is huge in today's game, and you, I think Saban thrived in that, man. He thrived in getting guys to buy into stuff that's bigger than themselves. Like, look at the athletes we had on our teams. It's just you look back on some of those guys. Damian Harris and Josh Jacobs were in the same backfield. You had Trent Richardson, Eddie Lacy, Mark Ingram, like all those guys in the same running back room. You had Derrick Henry, Kenyon Drake, TJ Yeldon. Like the list goes on, man. And those are guys that just bought into something that are bigger than themselves. Everybody got their turn. Everybody waited patiently. Everybody showed up and worked every day. And you don't build that type of culture just with guys that are chasing money. At some point, guys are gonna have to settle in somewhere and buy into something that's bigger than themselves.
What was it like being in the locker room when a guy didn't buy in? I've heard Coker talk about some of these stories before, because it sounded like maybe it wasn't always Saban that kind of said, "Hey, this is the way that we do things here at Alabama."
Right. Well, it got to a point, man, where we took accountability for ourselves. We controlled that locker room. You had guys on the team. We had our leadership council, guys who upheld that standard every day. And so it wasn't always Saban's job. I feel like a head coach's job is to establish a standard from the jump, and from there it'll be a trickle down effect. And so the head coach shouldn't be the guy walking in the locker room having to get things sorted out all the time, or if practice isn't going right within a certain group, he shouldn't have to be the one to come over and correct it all the time, right? And so I think Saban was really good at that trickle down effect. And then don't forget we had guys like Scott Cochran in our locker room as well. Guys like Kendall Moorhead, like we had guys in that facility, man, that would come and keep things straight in the locker room outside of Saban. And so it was a village, man. It took a village. And I think everybody bought in and everybody had their role and everybody did their part. And in return, I think that's why we were so successful, man, because nobody was bigger than the program, right?
Yeah.
And like when the lights came on Saturday night, it's look at the defense. Just close your eyes, turn in the circle, and point, and you might land on a first rounder, right? And and nobody's ego was bigger than anybody's. Like it was a real brotherhood. At one point, it felt like you were playing high school football again, because we got that close as a team, and guys weren't scared of the work. Man, guys would come in, get extra work. Guys would grind, and if you don't have guys that's holding each other accountable on a team like that, then you don't have that type of success.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you obviously that's what Saban was able to build from the time he got to Alabama until the time he left. I was sitting here thinking about my graduation. It was special to me. I think it was the first one to graduate on one side of my family, which was cool.
Nice.
And I was trying to remember like who was my commencement. I kept saying Seal Award, but when my sister graduated, it was Seal Award. And I went back and looked, and it was Denzel Washington, which is pretty cool. But I mean, I don't know that you could ever beat having Nick Saban and then the sitting president of the United States. I don't care what anybody's politics are.
Yeah,
It's a
man.
big deal,
Yeah.
man. Like, I watched that last night, and I was like, man, to think that is he going to LSU? Is he going to Georgia? Is he at
All right.
Vandy?
All
Or
right.
any of these guys? And I don't care who your president is, your favorite one. They don't do this a whole lot. So I thought it was really special. And I loved hearing him talk about Alabama. I did, like saying, hey, Alabama's known for winning. And it's just, you got to be proud of that.
Nah, man. I mean, I get it. People have their opinions, whoop de whoop, that's fine. But at the end of the day, he is the sitting president, and he did decide to show up at our graduation. And a lot of people are happy about that, and they deserve the right to be happy about that because, you know, what makes one man boats float might not make the next man boat float, and that's okay, man. And so let people have their moment, man. And all opinions aside, I think it's dope for the University of Alabama. I think it's dope that Saban was there, man. I enjoyed his rant that he goes on. He always has a
Yeah.
nice little rant up his sleeve, and man, you just take stuff in like that because how many more of those moments do we have left? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Saban's not going to be around forever. You're not going
No.
to have a president that's out and about in this manner all the time. So, sometimes, man, you just got to put all differences aside and just enjoy the moment.
Yeah. But, I mean, think about it, to be able to say that you were there when Saban and Trump did the commencement. That didn't happen to me, but I did have Denzel Washington, so I can't really complain too much. And I asked you, you're like, man, I don't even remember. I
I,
didn't
I
remember
know, clue.
Denzel until I Googled it, and then I was like, oh yeah, it was Denzel. I had a few drinks the night before.
I'll have
So
to get curious and go look mines up, man. I mean, my first one was in 15, second one in 16. So I have to go look and see, man. I honestly don't even remember. Because my graduation was always like either right before or after bowl season, so it was
yeah.
just a hectic time. And it was just kind of like, all right, we got that checked off the list. What's next? What's coming up next?
No, yeah, right.
But
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely fun to see Alabama get mentioned there, and I mean, like the commencement on CNN and all these other places and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. Great moment for Alabama,
all
and
right,
congratulations to the 11 players on the football team that graduated. A lot of these guys, you know how it is. Names that we might not know because they didn't play much. I mean, we know Jeremiah Alexander and Josh Cuevas and Jam Miller, who's still playing, and Graham Nicholson, the kicker, and Gino Vandermark, who's still on the team. But some of these guys we never heard of, right?
yeah,
Caleb Fleming and Kobe Cruz and Prince Butler, and if you go through, but you guys get to know these players that are walk-ons or non-scholarship guys that help out and stuff like that, and they're really important to the program. I was in a fraternity with a couple of those guys, and I always used to joke around and call them tackling dummies, but somebody's got to sacrifice their body for the team, right?
right. Hey
uh,
man, those walk-ons, I love them, dog. I love them. They have nothing but my utmost respect. Shout out Walk On Nation. Um, they showed up every day. They showed up every day. I mean, because you think about that situation, not on scholarship, just doing it for the love of the game, doing it for the love of the university. I mean, I think I used to ask myself, man, I don't know if the experience is worth going through all this, man, and just not being a scholarship guy because they put themselves through everything that we did, and it wasn't easy by a long shot. Because mind you, we're a national championship caliber team, and have been for a long time, and so I just think it's crazy because people think of walk-ons as just these unathletic guys, but nah, these guys are real athletes You know, because a lot of these guys, I've seen plenty of guys go on to other universities and have good careers, start elsewhere, full scholarship, and so just for them to be so committed to something, like I said, bigger than themselves, they see the bigger picture. They show up every day, do their part, and shout out to those guys, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Well, I want to tell you guys this I've got to fix the underground bunker here, and as Shank gets his studio set up, we know that New Life Art's got us covered over there in Hoover, but you can check them out, newlifeart.com. Those Daniel Moore prints, like his 2015 team that is commemorated like that, and then the Kenyon Drake touchdown and all of that stuff. But go take advantage of our promo code Bama Tailgate, 20% off when you buy anything on there. You get the beginning to say, hey, Bama Tailgate. At the end, use that Bama Tailgate code. And then finally, Pearl River Resort, planning a trip to Pearl River. We got to get you there, Shank. I think Coker and I are going to be there at the end of May with Steve Azar, the great country singer. We're going to interview him on the show. But you're welcome. You got to come hang out with us in Philadelphia. Hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2 and change from Birmingham. But table games and slots. You got the Timeout Sports Lounge, Dancing Rabbit Golf Course, which is the Augusta you can play. And, you know, Coker plays a lot of golf. I'm just going to drive the cart over there. Philip M. Steakhouse and all that stuff. So thank them for being part of this. Shank, great to see you, man. Have an awesome weekend. You got big plans?
Oh man, I'm actually prepping to take my praxis, trying to finish my teacher certification, man. I'm excited about that and get started on another master's program. And other than that, spend some time with the fam, man. I think my nephew's coming over, and I got a Senior Bowl charity event Sunday and Monday. And so,
you'll see Coker there. Are you going over to Fairhope?
I'll be there. I'll go over there.
The Grand Hotel.
Yeah, looking forward to that, man.
Oh man, give him hell for all of us. Hey, have a great weekend. Roll Tide, everybody.
Roll.
To Pearl River Resort.